Holy shit!
Fuck!
The story opens with a tense moment where someone is questioning people nearby, asking who threw a can, but no one admits anything or takes responsibility. Soon after, we are introduced to a woman driving home along a quiet road. As she passes by, she notices 3 large billboards standing along the roadside. They appear old and unused, clearly having been abandoned for a long time. Something about them catches her attention. She stops her car and sits there, staring at the empty boards as an idea begins to form in her mind. After thinking it through, she drives to the company that owns those billboards. There, she meets a young man named Red. She tells him she wants to place advertisements on all 3 boards. Red explains that the boards are located on Drinkwater Road, a place where hardly anyone travels anymore. Because of that, the price is relatively low, $5,000 for 1 month. Without hesitation, she agrees. She gives Red the exact text she wants displayed and also demands a full-year contract, ensuring that no one else can rent those boards during that time. Red agrees to her terms. Soon after, the billboards go up, and what they say shocks everyone who sees them. The first reads, "Raped while dying." The second reads, "And still no arrests." And the third reads, "How come, Chief Willoughby?" Together, these messages form a direct accusation aimed at the town's police chief. The woman behind all of this is Mildred. 7 months earlier, her daughter was brutally assaulted, murdered, and left on the roadside. Despite all this time, the police have made no progress in the case. No arrests, no suspects. That is why Mildred has put up the billboards, to force attention onto the case and demand justice. After the billboards appear, a reporter interviews her. Mildred clearly states that her daughter has not received justice and that the police have failed. The impact spreads quickly across the town, but instead of support, backlash begins to grow. Chief Willoughby himself is upset and goes to speak with Mildred. He explains that he has done everything possible to solve the case and insists that putting up the billboards will not help. He even tells her that he is suffering from cancer and does not want his reputation damaged in his final days. But Mildred is not moved. She tells him that the time he is spending arguing with her would be better spent finding the man responsible for her daughter's death. Willoughby eventually leaves, unable to change her mind. Meanwhile, another officer named Dixon becomes furious about the situation. He strongly believes that Willoughby is a good man and does not deserve this public humiliation, especially while he is dying. He goes to Red and pressures him to remove the billboards, but Red explains that there is a contract, nothing can be done. At the same time, the entire town turns against Mildred. Almost everyone believes that Willoughby is a good person, and they see her actions as unfair and cruel. One day, Mildred visits a dentist who also disagrees with what she has done, but before he can act against her, she grabs his drill and drives it into his thumb. The situation escalates quickly. After this incident, the police arrive at her home and take her to the station. At the police station, Mildred is brought in for questioning. Chief Willoughby speaks with her again, hoping to convince her to remove the billboards. During their conversation, he reveals that he knows she doesn't have the money to keep paying for them. The only reason she managed to afford the first month was because she sold her ex-husband's old tractor. We also learn more about her personal life. She is divorced, and her ex-husband is now with a much younger woman. As their discussion continues, something shocking happens. Willoughby suddenly begins coughing violently and blood spills from his mouth. Mildred is immediately shaken. Without hesitation, she rushes out to call for help. An ambulance arrives and Willoughby is taken to the hospital. This moment deeply affects everyone, especially Dixon. Dixon becomes even more angry and emotional, blaming Mildred for everything that is happening. Meanwhile, Mildred is also facing pressure. Her son is upset with her actions. He tells her that every time he sees those billboards, he is forced to relive what happened to his sister. The pain never fades. It only feels fresh again and again. He wants to move on. He wants peace, but the billboards won't allow that. Mildred understands his pain, but she cannot let go of what happened. The story then shifts into a flashback. We see the day Mildred's daughter, Angela, left the house for the last time. She asked her mother for the car, but Mildred refused. This leads to a heated argument between them. Angela storms out in anger, saying she will walk and that she hopes something terrible happens to her on the way. In a moment of frustration, Mildred says the same thing back to her. Those words become the last thing they ever say to each other. That memory haunts Mildred more than anything else. It fuels her anger and her determination for justice. In the present, Dixon decides to pressure Mildred further. He arrests her friend on minor drug charges, claiming he found marijuana on him. Then he tells Mildred that if she wants her friend released, she should remove the billboards. Mildred refuses. At the same time, the first month's payment for the billboards has expired. Red calls her in and explains that if she wants them to stay up, she needs to pay again. But Mildred doesn't have the money anymore. Just when it seems like the billboards will be taken down, something unexpected happens. Red's assistant walks in with an envelope containing $5,000, the exact amount needed for another month. No one knows who sent it, but because of that payment, the billboards stay up. Elsewhere, Willoughby spends a peaceful day with his family. They go on a picnic, laugh together, and enjoy each other's company. That night, after everyone has gone to sleep, Willoughby steps outside and takes his own life. He chooses not to let his family watch him slowly die from cancer. Before doing so, he leaves behind 3 letters, one for his wife, one for Mildred, and one for Dixon. His death shocks the entire town, and no one takes it harder than Dixon. Blinded by grief and anger, Dixon storms into Red's office. He blames the billboards, he blames Mildred, and he takes out all his rage on Red. He brutally beats him and throws him out of the window from the 2nd floor. Red is left seriously injured, but Dixon doesn't realize that someone witnessed everything. The new police chief, Abercrombie, sees the entire incident. Without hesitation, he fires Dixon on the spot. Just like that, Dixon is suspended and disgraced. One day, while Mildred is working in her shop, a man comes in and threatens her. But before anything happens, Willoughby's wife arrives, causing the man to back off. She has come to deliver the letter that Willoughby wrote for Mildred. Mildred opens it. Inside, Willoughby writes that he truly did care about her daughter's case, even if it didn't seem that way. He admits he simply couldn't find the evidence needed to solve it. But he also tells her something unexpected. He says her billboard idea was actually brilliant, like a strategic move in a game. He knew that after his death, people would blame her. So to protect her, he secretly paid for another month of the billboards himself. It was his final act of kindness. That same night, as Mildred drives back home, she is met with a devastating sight. Her 3 billboards, the very ones carrying her message, are completely engulfed in flames. Someone has set them on fire. She rushes toward them, trying desperately to put out the blaze, but the fire is too strong. There is nothing she can do as her message, her fight for justice, burns away in front of her eyes. Meanwhile, Dixon receives word that Willoughby left a letter for him. He is told to come to the station late at night when no one else is around. When he arrives, he finds the letter waiting. In it, Willoughby tells Dixon something deeply personal. He says that despite everything, he believes Dixon is a good person at heart. But he also points out that Dixon carries a lot of anger, likely from losing his father at a young age. Willoughby explains that if Dixon can let go of that anger, he has the potential to become a great detective. And the key to that transformation is simple: love. Love brings peace of mind. And with a peaceful mind, a person can think clearly and see the world properly. At the same time, Mildred is consumed by rage. She is convinced that the police are responsible for burning her billboards. She decides to take revenge. First, she calls the police station to make sure no one is inside. When no one answers, she gathers bottles filled with fuel, lights them, and throws them through the station's windows. A massive fire erupts instantly, but what Mildred doesn't know is that Dixon is still inside. He is listening to music with headphones on, completely unaware of what is happening around him. Suddenly, the explosion hits. Flames spread rapidly through the building. Dixon realizes the danger and in a split-second decision grabs the case file for Angela Hayes before forcing his way out of the burning station. He escapes, but not without suffering severe burns. By pure chance, a man named James happens to be nearby. He rushes over and helps extinguish the flames on Dixon's body, saving his life. Dixon is rushed to the hospital. In a cruel twist of fate, he ends up in the same room as Red, the man he brutally attacked and threw out of a window. Red cannot recognize Dixon due to the bandages covering his face. He simply asks him if he would like a glass of orange juice. Dixon begins to cry, not from pain, but from guilt. After reading Willoughby's letter, something inside him has changed. He confesses the truth to Red, that he is the one who attacked him and is responsible for his injuries. Red stays silent for a moment. Then, instead of reacting with anger, he calmly tells Dixon not to cry because it will slow his healing. He brings him a glass of orange juice and hands it to him gently. Without saying it directly, Red forgives him. The next morning, a man from the billboard company visits Mildred. He tells her that if billboards are destroyed due to vandalism, the company replaces them free of charge. With the help of others, Mildred puts the billboards back up again. At the same time, the police release her friend who had been arrested earlier. Slowly, things begin to shift. After recovering, Dixon goes to a bar one evening. Nearby, 2 men are talking. One of them begins bragging about having raped a girl months earlier, describing it in disturbing detail. Dixon immediately recognizes him. It's the same man who once threatened Mildred in her shop. Dixon's mind starts racing. Could this be the man responsible? He steps outside and writes down the license plate of the man's car. Then he returns and sits directly across from him. Calmly, he tells the man not to be afraid and says he wants to show him a trick. Without warning, Dixon digs his fingernails into the man's cheek, scratching deep enough to collect skin and blood. He needs a DNA sample. The man and his friend retaliate, beating Dixon badly, but he doesn't fight back. He already got what he came for. At the same time, Mildred is at a restaurant with James. Her ex-husband Charlie walks in with his young girlfriend. Charlie approaches Mildred and admits something shocking. He was the one who burned the billboards. He says he was drunk and acted out of anger. Mildred is stunned. She had believed the police were responsible. That means she burned down the police station for the wrong reason. When Charlie returns to his table, Mildred picks up a bottle and walks toward him. For a moment, it seems like she might attack him, but instead, she gently places it down and tells his girlfriend to take care of herself because she reminds her of her daughter. Then she walks away. The next morning, Dixon goes to Mildred's house with new information. He tells her about the man from the bar, the one who bragged about committing a violent crime. He explains how he managed to collect a DNA sample from him and has already sent it in for testing. Before leaving, he tells Mildred not to lose hope. Mildred watches him go and quietly thanks him. It's a powerful moment. Not long ago, these two were enemies. Dixon represented everything she hated about the police, and she was the reason his world fell apart. But now, somehow, they're working toward the same goal. Later, Dixon returns to the station to get the test results. But instead of answers, he gets bad news. Chief Abercrombie tells him that the DNA does not match the evidence from Angela's case. Even more surprising, the man wasn't even in the country at the time of the murder. He was overseas on military duty. The man had been lying, just bragging. Dixon is crushed. He goes to Mildred and tells her everything. The hope she had started to feel disappears instantly. Still, she asks him one question. Does he believe the man is innocent? Dixon answers honestly. He says the man is not the one who killed Angela, but he also says that he clearly hurt someone. He hurt it himself. So even if it wasn't Angela, it was someone. The next day, the two of them make a decision. They are going to Idaho, the place where the man lives. Dixon loads his gun. Mildred gets into the car. As they begin the drive, Mildred admits something she has been hiding. She was the one who set fire to the police station. Dixon isn't surprised, and he tells her he already knew. Then Mildred asks him directly, "Does he really want to kill this man?" Dixon pauses before answering. He says no. Mildred admits she doesn't know either, but they decide they will figure it out along the way. And so they continue driving, not fully sure if what they're chasing is justice or revenge. But for the first time, neither of them is alone anymore, and somehow that's enough.